Hello and welcome to the Palm Performance Workshop. This is part 2 of the ZX10R engine swap. In this video we're going to crack on swapping the parts over between the two engines, get the new engine fitted, get it fired up and running. Stay tuned. That's the old engine. We've just bolted on the damaged sump off the new engine, just chucked a bit of tape over it. Obviously it's not really got any oil in it anymore, so the sump off that engine has had a wash and gasket face is cleaned. It's just drying off. I'll blow that off in a minute. And this is the new engine. I've just got to clean up the gasket face, which I'll do with a little Stanley blade and a bit of Scotch-Brite, making sure I don't drop any bits of gasket material into the engine. And then we'll put all the oil pickup and everything back on, bolt the sump on it, and start thinking about getting it in the bike. First things first, give the chassis a little bit of a wipe over in the areas that you wouldn't normally be able to get to before we think about putting the engine back in. Just going to slide it under the bike there, a couple of bits of wood just to wedge it up so it doesn't roll around, and then get it strapped up to the engine crane and start lifting it in. It's always a little bit fiddly doing this, getting the sort of straps in the right place and getting the engine sort of balanced in the right way so you can slide it in, but lower rear bolt in first, then the top one. And if you remember in the earlier videos, we said about the little adjusters that push the engine over to the left-hand side of the frame. So we've done all them, pushed the engine over, and then tightened up all the bolts. And then the crane can go out the way. Well, that's kind of the heavy work done anyway. The engine craned in, bolted up, engine mounting bolts all torqued up. So now it's just all the odds and ends. Get that heat exchanger swapped over, get the clutch swapped over, get the engine primed up with oil, get a new oil filter on it. That one that's on it at the moment's just been put on temporarily whilst we lifted the engine in, and get all the ancillaries on, get it fired up. First job is to get that heat exchanger / oil cooler changed over. So we have to disconnect some of the water pipes for that, including the thermostat housing at the back, which actually taking that out of the way does help us connect the new starter motor as well. So we're just undoing the 4 bolts that hold it on, the water pipe's disconnected, get it out of the way, new one on, a bit of Loctite on these bolts, wind them in, get them torqued up, and then start connecting up all the water hoses. That's me just connecting up the starter motor there before I put the thermostat housing back on. There we go, bolting that up. And now we're just going to swap that right hand front cover that on the new engine was slightly damaged, because obviously it must have come from a crash damaged bike. Obviously clean up the gasket face, new gasket on there. I normally put a couple of little dobs of sealant where the crankcase joins are, which is something you'll see on most things when you pull them apart. Just helps seal that gap. There we go, bolts in, torqued up, job done. What's next? Right, clutch cover off next. We'll get the clutch out of this thing and start looking at checking the clutch and getting ready to prime the lubrication system. Milwaukee gun out, of course, clutch basket out, oil pump chain off. Here we are. Right, this cover's been swapped over and the oil cooler on the front. Clutch is out. We'll check the clutch pack and make sure that all looks sweet. The other engine does have a new clutch in it, but it's an aftermarket clutch, and I'll be entirely honest, I don't rate many aftermarket clutches. The genuine clutches are generally far better quality and everything. So we'll check the clutch pack in this engine, make sure it all looks sweet. If it does, we'll put it back in. The only slight annoyance with these ZX10 clutches, when you take them apart, sometimes the stud that goes in there that holds the spring decides to come unthreaded from the sort of rear hub, rather than just the sort of top bolt that holds the spring. So that's a bit of a pain. So it just means I've got to undo them and then bolt them back into the hub with some Loctite. So we'll sort that out when we check the clutch pack. We'll get all that prepped and ready to go back in. And then this is where the chain for the oil pump drive runs. So runs off this sprocket, which sits on the back, which is driven off the clutch. Runs around there, drives the oil and water pump. And basically all we're going to do once the clutch is ready to go back in is we're going to drive that with a 10mm socket in the direction the engine runs. So the crank goes that way, the clutch goes that way, and then the chain obviously joins to the crank. That would then mean that turns that way under normal running conditions. So we turn it anti-clockwise. We'll fill the engine up with oil right up to sort of just beneath this level, which is somewhere near the full mark, and spin this up until oil comes out from everywhere. And when we do that, because oil obviously gets pumped up the gearbox shafts as well, so we have to pop that in just to stop it all coming out the end and hold our finger on that. And there's also a couple of oil feeds which go out to the clutch, so we have to make sure they're pointing in such a direction that the oil goes in the engine rather than all over my floor. So anyway, we'll get this clutch pack checked out, and we'll get this primed up. Let's get that brand new oil filter fitted on first before we go too much further. And then a nice fresh bottle of Morris Race 4TT 10W40 oil. Been using Morris stuff for years, always done me good service. And we're just filling it up to the maximum mark, or a bit over the maximum mark to be fair, because once we've actually primed the whole engine, we'll need to top it back up anyway, by the time it's filled all the oil galleries and such like. And here we go, Milwaukee battery drill with a socket on the end of it. Just turning the gearbox input shaft there to make sure the oil feeds on that are sort of going to end up spurting the oil back into the engine rather than making a mess. And just spinning up the drill and waiting for it to build oil pressure. And if you look, you can see the oil level going down as I spin it. And then you'll start seeing the oil, there we go, the oil coming out of the gearbox shaft, oil feed holes there. And I keep running the battery drill for quite some time. The longer you run it, the better. It's not going to harm it by running it for longer. It's going to make sure that there really is oil absolutely everywhere, and that it's good for its first start. So with the clutch back in the bike, it's now time to start fitting all the other ancillaries. So exhaust is going back on. Nice, pretty simple job on this. Access is good. Gaskets back in. Do up all the bolts. Torque wrench on them. Lambda sensor reconnected. Job done. Now that's just like the little rubber dust shield that sort of goes on top of the engine. That's a bit of a pain to get in, to be fair, with all the wiring and everything. You kind of have to feed it through, bit of a faff. And that is like a little under tray scoop which sits just behind and on top of the radiator. And a lot of the wiring for the ZX10 sits on top of that as well. It's one of the things about the road bikes. There's so many extra connectors and emission systems and stuff. There's bits everywhere. But anyway, now that's up, we can get the radiator back in because that's kind of held up in place by the radiator. Again, we've got to put the horn back on, which is something we wouldn't normally have to do. Rad shroud and such like. And then connecting up all the electronics and stuff on the top of the engine. So all the HT coils and stuff, and then get the throttle bodies in, connect all the injectors and sensors on them, get the throttle cables adjusted up. That's just doing the clamps up for the throttle bodies. Various connectors around the back of the engine. And then quick clean of the airbox, and then that can go back on. Little tip there to help the rubbers go on. Normally just a little spray of GT85 around the rubbers just helps them pop on that bit easier. And that soon sort of evaporates off once the engine's been warmed up. Airbox lid back on. We've got all the injectors to connect up there. There's a couple of relays that sit up there as well. Air intake temp sensor. And also there's like a little mini ECU that sits on the right hand side, and that's for controlling the electronic steering damper on these models. And basically that adjusts the steering damper setting according to the speed you're going. Just doing up the airbox screws. Now obviously, like some of these clips, they're just little clips of bits. It's not the whole procedure. But fuel tank back on. Age-old thing with the fuel tank, make sure when you connect the fuel pipe that you give it a tug to make sure that it's properly connected. Oil's topped up. Coolant's filled. Everything's on. Let's give it a fire up. there's a little emissions thing that sits here that's unplugged at the moment, but we'll get that back on in a bit. Just let it warm through. Dyno time now for this beast, so we'll give it a bit of gentle running, make sure this new engine's all good. Once we're happy that there's no issues or leaks or anything like that, which obviously there shouldn't be, we'll then give it a couple of power runs and see what it's doing. Hopefully it'll all be good to go. Okay, so excuse the fans because the bike's cooling down, but this bike had actually been on John's dyno before the old engine failed, which was the blue run here, where it's only making about 170 horsepower. So obviously there was something a little bit tired with that engine when it was last here. New engine now's, what's that, 182, 183 on a really hot day. That's not bad at all for a standard road bike engine, just with a silencer on it. So we'll now have a chat with the customer, see whether he wants to have some tweaks done. There's a bit of a hole in the mid-range on the fueling and stuff, and she'll be good to go, getting back on the road.